Okay, good afternoon. I just realized that we are afternoon already. Good afternoon, Professor Tan, past presidents, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished speakers. I'm really, fortunate and privileged to have this opportunity to speak among leading professors. Yeah, I'm no academia. I can only share with you something that I see as research and development and innovation in action, and that is entrepreneurship. Now, Cyberport, as many of you are aware of the role that we play, but let me, put this in another way, in perhaps, Professor Cardwell's terms. The two extremes, academia prefers, hard problems, and venture capitalists prefer, hard cash. And we are probably something in between, that we try to bridge getting hard cash as well as solving hard problems together through promoting entrepreneurship. Now, one of the things also mentioned by Professor Shan is that knowledge is probably as important as government policy and capital. I cannot agree more. And perhaps, I'll start with something along that line to highlight some of the recent development in Hong Kong government's policy drivers, for R&D and innovation and technology. Professor Yan mentioned a few of those just now, and I'm trying to also, organize this in different areas, including under financial support, competing for talents and entrepreneurship, or competing for talents and enterprises, industrializations, and infrastructure. Now, I'm not going to, repeat all these policies or to sell them further, but I think what I want to say behind this slide, this information, is that it is actually very important that we have government policy to drive the development of entrepreneurship, and that is putting R&D and innovation into action. Now, for financial support, you can see, different from previous government, which has been also very active in providing capital for innovation and technology. Our recent, regime of the government actually put a lot on actual deliverables, actions, putting things into what we call, doing things on the ground. With specific KPIs, and one very much, to the heart, of course, of knowledge institutions like the university is the Raise Plus program, providing, 10 billion of such funding support, not just for research and development or on top of what UGC will provide, but also to encourage the collaboration between research institutions, knowledge institutions, and industry sector. And many of these will become actual enterprises or technology companies, whether they are startup or not, to deliver actual economic benefits. This is, I think, very important for us, to recognize. They are also, organizing many different funding schemes to put it, under the Hong Kong Investment Corporation, to not just provide funding, but also coordinate different funding such that we can integrate with many other policy initiatives. Now, one of these integration is definitely together, with attracting talents and enterprises. Take Cyberport as an example. In the past I would say, 2 to 3 months. Through such funding or attraction of these funding, there are leading enterprises, not startups, leading enterprises in the mainland and also from overseas to come to Cyberport to work with us because they would like to, also get these fundings. And what we need to do, probably even, harder, is to see how we can get universities also to, work with us. And we have been trying hard to do that. In the past, again, the Cyberport has been doing quite a lot in this already, but then it's more probably focused on innovation and technology than integrating R&D. Yeah, because honestly, that part is easier. Putting R&D into practice, you probably need a lot more work to turn some of the research or the papers developed into something that is applicable, to applications that can generate economic benefits. At least, have some more solid ideas in turning those research and development into something that's practically implementable that can generate economic benefit. So these are the things that in the coming months, hopefully, that we will put more effort into. And we have already, started quite good collaborations with Poly University. Professor Tan was with us, last week, and we have discussed in the past about, integrating some of our programs with the new AIDA, the AI, Artificial Intelligence and Data Analytics, secondary degree course, and also another IE secondary degree course, Innovation and Entrepreneurship second major course. Yeah. So these are the things, and with City University, Professor Yan mentioned just now that we have been also working very closely with their Tech 300 programs to, again, try to turn some of the students' work into application that can generate economic benefits. With Hong Kong University and Hong Kong Science and Technology University, we are also working something related to Metaverse, Web3. For Hong Kong University, again, Professor Shen mentioned just now that we have been discussing something hopefully that can turn into a common infrastructure for different universities. But another thing that has already happened that Professor Shen didn't mention is actually a smart city lab that has already been established at Cyberport. That, again, turning some of the smart city related research into practical applications through working with startups or the Cyberport community companies. So these are the things that we are working very hard to help attract talents, and one of the very key things besides through the capital attraction is actually creating opportunities for these startups, for these tech companies to grow and make use of already available research and development output and IP. Yeah. So we will definitely do more. You will probably also hear shortly that there will be another organization landing in Cyberport, which has been very successful overseas, and also in Shenzhen to us, and they will be establishing a dry lab at Cyberport, and also integrating industrialization with AI and blockchain or Web3 applications. So these are all very exciting development that I think only can happen with these very important policy drivers to facilitate the development. Now, even though Cyberport, now this is already, 2023 is already the 20th year of Cyberport in operation, we haven't seen such strong policy drive, especially focused on very practical, down-to-earth development, delivering output. So these are the things that I hope that you will see in the next year or even a half year, 6 months, that things will happen. Now, to elaborate more on some of the things that we have achieved in the past, these are the things that you can look at. I'm not going to repeat some of these statistics, but then what's important behind the message of this is representing the importance of policy drive, as well as the entire very rapidly developing and becoming very conducive and entrepreneurial environment. Now, we have now a community of companies close to 2,000. But then what is more important is that in 2018, Cyberport has just celebrated the community record high of going beyond 1,000. So what that means is in the past 5 years or so, we have basically doubled the scale of the community companies. And in 5 years or so, we have achieved what we have done in the past or 15 years, from 2003 to 2018. So this is also a reflection of the very vibrant entrepreneurship environment in Hong Kong. And probably also driven by the development in the Greater Bay Area too, because quite a number of these companies are from mainland and also from overseas, trying to land in Hong Kong to develop further in the Greater Bay Area. I mentioned policy drive is quite important. Now look at some of the achievement that we have related to the fintech area, the financial technology area. We have now the first 2 virtual banks in operation are from Cyberport. Out of the 4 virtual insurance licensee, 3 of them are with Cyberport. And then the first licensed virtual asset trading platform since the announcement of the policy statement end of October last year, that obtained this first trading license is again, Cyberport company, HashKey. So they are a very important representative, Web3, company focused on virtual asset. Now, all these are basically things that we have done to facilitate or to take the policy drives to a next stage, to actually forming real companies contributing to economic benefits. And I mention this because the policy drive in the past has been mainly focused on, in terms of application cluster or application areas, are mainly focused on the financial services area. But now we can see with the new government in place since last July, there has been many different areas, in particular the industrialization area, covering much more than the financial service. So we will be seeing many other clusters development with representative companies or maybe even unicorns appearing, in the Hong Kong entrepreneur platforms like Cyberport and Science and Technology Park. We are actively cultivating smart living, smart city applications, as well as digital entertainment application areas too. Now, how do we do that? In short, we have a series of programs that matches the needs of different stages of startups, from really early ideation stage to subsequently expansion to overseas. And we have also set up an investment fund to attract more fundings from other areas, both locally and also overseas, to work with us to invest in promising startups. Now, the first series of program, the first 5 circles on the upper series of circles, you can see are funding that we give out without any return. So 1.1 million together with 2 years of free spaces, to these companies that want to land in Hong Kong and develop their business, or local startups who are groomed from different knowledge institutions like the leading universities. The CMF, the Cyberport Macro Fund, our own virtual, our own venture capital fund, actually is not for us to get return from these promising companies, but more to reduce the risk of other companies or other VC funds investing in these companies. So they are happy to work with us because CMF, the Cyberport Macro Fund, is a co-investment fund. So they are very happy actually to work with us because the company that we intend to invest in must be quite promising. Particularly, most of them, if not all, are companies that has gone through our nurturing series with early startups to scale-ups and so on. So to them, these are already companies that we have endorsed as well as have gone through our program with competition with many other companies that become something that as a company that we would also like to invest. So as a result, we have attracted many other fundings to work with us and have created a multiple for every $1 that we invest in them. We have attracted another $9. So it's basically a tenfold multiple that we have generated. Now this is the intention of the macro fund, not for the return of our investment, but more for reducing the risk and giving the comfort, to the other VCs to invest in Hong Kong companies. And it has been, quite successful. And it started off not just with, individual that has already set up a company, but we started off with, if you look at the first circle, the Cyberport University Partnership Program, we started off as when they are students. Now, we actually, for last year and this year, we work with the Cambridge University. Professor Cardwell may like to know. I'm not sure whether it is the entity under Cambridge Enterprise, but we work with the Cambridge University to help us to conduct this program with training as well as exchange, because as part of this program, the Hong Kong students forming this kind of startups will be able to go to Cambridge to learn from the professors there, the entrepreneurs course professor there, as well as to visit successful startups in UK. So these are the things that we have been doing to facilitate the development. And also there are these vast network of industry stakeholders that we are getting in to help our startups to get business opportunities, through our enterprise network, to get more funding through our investment network, and also to facilitate their development through technology service providers network, and to scale up, to expand in other areas, and to protect their IP through our professional service providers network. So these are the things that we do. I can see that my time is up, so I'll just very quickly, go through some of the information. Now, these are just some figures for you to appreciate, the achievement that we have done in the past years. I mentioned just now, about the multiple that we have generated. We have so far, the Cyberport Macro Fund invested, 26, companies and created a tenfold co-investment. Now, these, again, are some of the flagship programs that we have initiative we have done under the fintech area. Again, I'm not going to go into details given the time. we can discuss further, in the Q&A session. Some of the successful cases that we have, through the various programs, enhancing the enterprise in financial services to further develop or integrate some of the fintech solutions into their standard services and products. These are something similar, in the smart living area. So actually, the smart living area is the largest cluster community, at Cyberport. We have over 770 companies, while for financial services or fintech, we have over 400. But this 400 is also very important because from the government's statistics, this constitute already 2/3 of the local fintech companies. Right. Just to also, highlight some of the other, success stories, and many of them actually are not just companies that are in the early startup stage. They are already now been scaled up, have already scaled up their services, their solutions, and have been, very successful in implementing their solutions in some of the major enterprises, like Avalon, Steritech, for example. You may not know, they are actually cleaning every MTR station now at night, when MTR, closes. So they are sterilizing and also, sweeping, the floor for the stations. There are also biotech companies or health tech companies that are now launched in different the community centers to facilitate elderlies in doing body checks and to collect their health data and so on. So these are very promising companies that you will probably see them as unicorn in a couple of years' time. All right, so just to reinforce what I've mentioned earlier, that entrepreneurship is really putting R&D and innovation in action. So we should all join hands in supporting entrepreneurship to make sure that the R&D can really be put on the ground and innovation generating more economic benefits. Thank you.